Hi there! It is so good to see you today. Today, we are going to talk about blessings. Do you have any blessings in your life? Of course you do! We all have blessings in our lives. Sometimes it's hard to see those blessings, especially when we're sad or mad or frustrated. But we need to remember to look at the blessings around us and to be thankful for them. Like God's creation. He's blessed us with so many wonderful things, like the stars in the sky, and the trees, and the sunsets, and all the wonderful animals that He created. They're all great blessings. And you know what else is a blessing? Our Bible class teachers. Up next, we have a special message for our Cradle Rollers.
Hi, I'm Miss Lynn, along with Miss Carla and Miss Vicki. I teach Cradle Roll. Our children are only 6 months old when they start coming to our class, so we keep things very simple. We talk about God giving us the Bible so that we know what He needs us to know. That God tells us that He made us. God made Zoe, and God made Lily, and Asher, and Ivy. God made all of the children. God made all of our mommies and daddies, and our brothers and sisters, grandmas and grandpas, cousins. God made everyone, and that God loves us. God also made everything around us. And when we're actually in class, we sit at a table and we pat our Bibles. They're just getting used to touching a Bible and holding one. And then we take a pretend walk with Mimi and Puppy, who are also staying safe right now, just like we're staying safe, not being able to actually be together. I miss you all. But when we go for our pretend walk, we see all sorts of things that God made. We see the sun in the sky and the rain. We see different animals. We see the birds. We even see little worms and caterpillars. And usually our very favorite thing to see are the fish in the pond, because we're playing with little plastic fish in the water. So we get to splash and make sort of a mess. And then at the end of class, we give the children back to their mommies and daddies, just a little bit damp. But we're stuck being safe in our houses right now. I don't know about you, but I get tired of being in the house. So we try to go outside while still staying safe. And we look around for some of the things that God made that way. So I'm going to have a picture of papers that have the list of some of the things we see in our class. So when you go outside, you'll be able to look for some of those things too. I can't wait to be together again, and love you all. Bye.
For our story today, I need you to help me keep a close lookout for a kitty cat and a puppy dog. Can you help me do that? Remember, a kitty cat and a puppy dog. And I have a couple other things I want you to look out for too, okay? I need you to look for a ladybug. You see that ladybug? And bumblebees. You let me know when you see those. Now here is our story. This book is called The World is Awake, a celebration of everyday blessings, written by Lindsay Davis, illustrated by Lucy Fleming. Look at all those butterflies. Wow. This is the day the Lord has made. A butterfly floats through the sun and the shade, while dragonflies flit past the flowers and trees, and grasshoppers hop in the soft morning breeze. And the bees, busy bees, are buzzing today as ladybugs call them to come out and play. Look at that. Do you see anything interesting in that picture? Just look at the sunrise that's painted in the sky. And look at the songbirds all starting to fly. The world is awake. It's a wonderful place, alive with God's power and glad with His grace. Look at that, they're running outside to play. Who's that following them? Out in the yard just waiting today are all kinds of things that want us to play. The gifts of the Lord are found everywhere, and all that I see is just like a prayer. So much of creation is happy and good. Even the rocks would sing if they could. Wow. So many things to look at. I see some little fish in the pond there. It's in praise of the Lord that trees grow so tall, that grass grows so green, and flowers all call. Look at us, look at us. God dressed us up too, like great sweeping rainbows and skies wrapped in blue. Like water in sunshine and summer days too, and you, beautiful, beautiful you. Look at that, God made all those beautiful flowers, and He made you beautiful too. And later today, what shall we do? I know, let's go to the zoo. We can buy a balloon and meet a baboon. We can look at the animals all afternoon. Look at that. We can't go to the zoo right now, can we? But we could go for a walk outside and see some squirrels and maybe some birds. Let's see what kind of animals they find. See that bear over there? He's just trying to snooze, despite all the noise from the young kangaroos. There's the kangaroos. The slippery otters are swimming along. The playful coyotes are howling a song. I love zebras and lions and elephants too, pandas and penguins and owls that call too, peacocks and panthers, a great mountain sheep, and that grumpy old bear who is trying to sleep. There he is, trying to get a nap. Down at the zoo, they're all on parade. The wonderful creatures the good Lord has made. Look at all those wonderful animals. My belly sounds like that bear when it growls. It's time for supper. My tummy now howls. So let's stop at the market for something to eat. God always provides us with wonderful treats. Looks like they're having some healthy treats, like carrots and maybe some fresh baked bread and some cheese. At supper time, I take my chair and bow my head and say a prayer to thank the Lord for all this food, for carrots cooked and apples stewed, for milk and juice and bread and cheese, for even Brussels sprouts and peas. It tastes so good. I eat and then I thank the Lord for food again. Who is that eating with them at the table? Do you have a cat at home? Does your cat eat at the dinner table? And with my belly full, I start to yawn. The light outside is almost gone. I can see the moon and the stars. And look who's following them up the stairs. Up in the trees, high in the leaves, I hear God's love in the sound of the breeze. The wind is whispering stories tonight, and far above, the moon shines bright. Look at that, the pretty night sky. So I say my prayers and climb into bed, then snuggle up close while my books are read. The comforting night feels calm and deep, calling me down to a dreamy sleep. Calling me down to a dreamy sleep. Look at that, his little puppy dog is sleeping with him. Calling me down to dream and sleep. Look at that, he's going to beddy bye with his little puppy at the end of the bed. That was a nice story to remind us of some of the blessings all around us. And another one of the big blessings we have right now is the fact that it's spring. And when spring comes, that means there are more warm days when we can go outside and play. Up next, Mrs. Chandler, who was supposed to be the first and second grade teacher this quarter, is going to help us remember some of the good, fun things about spring.
Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Chandler. I was teaching the first and second graders. I wanted to talk to you about the seasons. Does anyone know what season it is? Right, spring. Spring is a great season. We celebrated Easter. Maybe your family talked about how much Jesus loves us. Or maybe you looked for Easter eggs. There's other things that happen in the spring too. Let me show you some pictures. In spring, we see rain, and you might use an umbrella. We see birds. There's lots of birds out in the spring. Maybe you see some rabbits if you're out on walks with your family. We also see leaves coming out on the trees. new green grass is growing in the spring. And I see lots of flowers coming up. So we see lots of different things in springtime. I have a book I want to read called When Spring Comes by Robert Mass.
When spring comes. Spirits soar when spring comes. A sweet fresh breeze blows. Bright shades of green decorate winter's bare trees. Farmers plow or burn off last year's stubble to get the earth ready for planting. Spring is the time to sow seeds so there'll be crops later in the year. Rain and melting snow make spring waters rush. The season's warm days and cool nights mean maple sap can rise and be tapped. Crocuses peek their heads above the ground when spring comes. Gardeners turn the soil so last year's bulbs will return to flower. Animals big and small are born in springtime. Foals nuzzle their dams. A mother duck seems to say, "Make way for ducklings." After the long winter, boats need sanding, brick needs pointing, and roofs need mending. Fixing and cleaning, tightening and airing are spring tasks of repair and renewal. When all the world turns green and flowery again, a blossom is enough to inspire a painting. Matzo is part of every Passover Seder when families gather to retell an ancient story. Bonnets and bunnies appear at Easter. It's time to hunt for eggs. April showers bring rain delays and May flowers. When spring comes, birds return from winter homes and busily build their nests as people curiously look on. On May Day, there's dancing and maypoles, music and sunshine. It seems that all the world celebrates spring. Tradition has it that spring is a time for love to blossom and be affirmed. As the season nears its end and hot weather approaches, we mark Memorial Day to honor those who've fallen for their country. Spring makes us ready for the seasons to come. Roll on, summer. The end.
I hope you have a great spring, boys and girls. Bye.
We are going to play I Spy a Blessing. Do you want to play with us? Okay, come on.
You can play iSpy a Blessing too with your families. You can walk around your home or your neighborhoods and see how many blessings you can find.
For our craft today, we are going to be painting rocks. Right here I have a few rocks that I've painted. This is one of my favorites. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's called a painted turtle. That's actually the real name of the turtle. And there's the shell. So on this one I painted the whole thing. I painted the underneath side, and there's his face on the front, and he's even got a little tail in the back. So sometimes when I paint rocks, I like to look at the rock and decide, what does this rock look like? And this rock looked like a turtle. So I painted a painted turtle, which is actually the state reptile of Illinois, which is a little tidbit of information for you. And then here's my other favorite that I've painted, and this is called a tiger salamander, and this is actually the state amphibian. So I just kind of painted that little guy. It was a nice round rock, so I thought he would fit nicely on there. And then here's a turkey that I painted. Don't know how well you can see that. Little turkey. And this is a copperhead snake, and I made him kind of in a coil there. So when you are finding your rocks that you want to paint, you can look at them and just kind of decide what would be fun to paint on that rock. I have a lot of insects. I have like beetles like this one. Also some ladybugs. Those are pretty fun to paint. And then I also have a couple little bumblebees. So you can do whatever you want though. I've seen people that like to just paint little encouraging messages on their rocks, or just do some sort of pretty design. And Brody over here is actually going to start working on his rock. I think he's going to write something on it. But while he starts, go ahead and start, Brody. I was just going to say, another thing when you're looking for your rocks, you can kind of see how your rock naturally sits. So that kind of helps you decide which side of the rock that you want to paint. So I wouldn't necessarily want to paint this side because it would be hard to display it because it would just kind of fall over. So I would probably paint something on this side of the rock. This one might actually be a good shape for a snail. I can imagine the snail shell to kind of be right here and his head popping up right here. And I was gonna fix one of my ladybugs. My ladybug here is missing a spot, so I was gonna, and we are using paint pens, but you can use any kind of like acrylic craft paint. One thing you need to know is that if these are outside for a long time, just like with paint on them, they might, the paint might eventually wear off. So once you've painted your rocks and they're completely dry, you can go back and have your parents help you spray them with some sort of like spray sealer. So this is a spray sealer, and this would help protect your rocks from the weather and help them hopefully not fade so quickly. So I'm just using this paint pen to fix my butterfly's spot here. Or not my butterfly, my ladybug. There. So I have to let that dry. Okay, Brody, what'd you come up with? So show the camera what you made. So Brody made a rock that says love, and he's got a nice little heart there on the top, so that's really cute. I know someone at least in our neighborhood has put rocks in everybody's, kind of like by the sidewalk in front of everyone's house. So it's fun when we go for a walk with our family, we kind of look for these rocks and try to spot where they're at. And some of them have nice messages and some of them are just cute little pictures. So that's our craft for today. I hope that you have fun finding your rocks and deciding what you want to paint on them. And I would love it if you would either post the pictures, have your parents post the pictures, or just email them directly to me just so I can see what you have been up to. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time for our next craft.
Hey kids, thanks for joining us for Bible Blast. Hope you had a blast.